right, let's talk about mistakes number 1, 2, and 3, shall we? So, if you're going to start off doing gel coat, you need a polisher that can handle gel coat. The second mistake that I see a lot of people using these things, this is a single-sided foam pad. Even a single-sided wool pad with a Velcro backing plate like this is a great thing for a car. Not so great for RVs, boats, and anything that has detail work. Instead of using the backing plate, let's go ahead and remove this. Spin that off. And I'll tell you why this is a mistake. This backing plate needs to be centered on the foam pad, otherwise it wobbles while you're doing your work. Well, wobbling sends the center of balance, center of gravity of your buffer to different sides of the pad, meaning that one side's digging, the other side's digging, this side's digging, that side's digging. Not good. Plus, when that gums up, you have to take it off and replace it. What I suggest is you use a 5/8 inch spacer nut with threads on top. If you don't have this part available at your local hardware store, you can just use two 5/8 inch coarse grain threaded nuts on there, and you put that on. And the reason you see mine's blue is because I've wrapped it with tape so that if I hit something metal on this area, it has a little bit less chance of damaging it. This nut in particular is aluminum, so as long as I hit stuff that's harder than aluminum, like stainless steel or something like that, it won't scratch it. But here's the next step. I really want you to crank this thing on there. Really crank it on. So hold on 1 second while I do that. I'm off of the pad. So let's go ahead and grab a pad. It's a double-sided wool pad. Now you can see inside here, there's some threads. So you just want to clear out the matte fibers. Lay that right over the spindle. That's as tight as you need it. That's it. Just literally as tight as you need it. Any harder than that, and inevitably it only gets tighter and tighter, especially if you jam it into a corner. So now that we've got a double-sided pad on our buffer, we now have the ability to do things that other buffers don't have the ability to do, like little corners and edges and stuff like this. I can get my buffer in at a certain angle and then flip it around to get other stuff. Plus, when one side of my pad gets all gummed up, all I have to do is flip it over, and it's a dry, clean side over here. And once that side gets gummed up, well, I just spur this out, and it's a dry, clean side. I can use my pads for about 6 to 8 months. Most people I find use a pad for about a month, and then they destroy it. So, there you go. Steps 1, 2, and 3. Pick the right buffer, pick the right wheel, and get started correctly. Yeah, no, we're not working on that. Don't worry. We are, however, working on this. This is a 55-foot RV. She's about 30 years old. And this is a little test spot I've done just to see what I think is going to work. Now, I hear a lot of people talking about RVs and getting the shine back. So they'll say if you put your hand on the side of the boat or the gel coat and you can see the detail in your hand, well, you've done a pretty good job if you're at a 45-degree angle. I tend to think that that's a bunch of horse myself. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is just compound. There's no wax on this. I mean, my God, you can almost read the instructions on the side of the ladder. So without polish, just after compound, this is the result you should get. Otherwise, you're looking at something more like that. So when I see people saying, oh, if you put your hand on this, you see some detail, 45-degree angle, there's your detail. Can you see clearly in the reflection? That's the answer. If you can't, keep compounding. That's the other answer. Anyway, we'll keep going and I'll show you what this looks like after I wax it. Shouldn't look much different, because quite honestly, the compound does all the work, or it should, and the wax just locks that work in. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, so in this section, what I'm going to do, I've already taken care of the paint on the bottom. That was fairly easy, didn't take very much aggressive compound or anything like that. A light cleaner wax with a random orbital polisher to remove any swirls and to not dig into the paint. And then I want to focus on this gel coat here. And so here's the reflection, which really isn't much. You can't see much. So there's a test spot that I did early this morning, and this is the section that I'm going to be working on now. So what I want is to see if you can see, when I'm done, the detail that's laying out here, the hose, the little table. And I will be dealing with the gel coat and the all grip at the same time. So right now, let's just work on this little section here. I will put you on pause, set this up so that it can watch, and then I'll go to town. Hold on 1 second. Okay, and this is for everyone who thinks that a random orbital polisher, even with the most aggressive rubbing compound that money can buy, you're going to see that this does basically nothing. It'll gloss it, but it won't shine it. Prime the pad a little bit. And let's just pick a spot. Nice and slow. Wipe it off and see how it looks, shall we? Okay, so there's that. I'm going to leave that section for right now. Switch over to a man's buffer. Since we're compounding, let's go ahead and clean it out. Alright, so let's try that again with the real buffer and that same compound. You monkeys. Now it's time to see what's up. So if you recall, right about here, there's a delineation between what was done with the random orbital polisher. There's the reflection. You see that? Not too impressive. However, with a real buffer, you get a lot more uniform and clear finish, and it takes about half the time, as long as you know what you're doing. So you might have seen me spread the compound out a little bit slow. That's to get it worked into the pores, let that oil saturate the gel coat, And then on a big flat section like this, even though there's decals and whatnot, as long as you're paying attention, you can go ahead and polish these without burning them. And if you look, the reflection in the paint is legit. So here again, random orbital polisher. I mean, it's got a gloss to it, but who would want that as a finished product? And then all you got to do is just go back a little bit. So there's random, there's Rotary. All right, I'm gonna back up because we're about to slide this back in so that I can get the roof line. And we're back. All right, so everything that you're seeing here has been done. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it looks pretty good. And where the ladder is between that and the masked off vent, that's what I'm working on now. So let's take a look here, see what we got. Okay, so let's go up a little bit. And if you see that weird dull little dot, that's the sun right in the center of your screen. And we'll move over a little bit. Well, we don't have the sun, but okay, now you see that line? You're going to think that's a swirl. It's not. It's actually residue from the oil, and if I wipe it in a horizontal way, you'll see it go away. So I'll wipe this way. Now you'll see the line going left to right, probably, if at all. And there's a little dull spot right in there. So I'll go hit that a little bit more compounding and we'll take care of it. Okay, this is just a progress shot. I wanted to show you again the difference between what was not done. Yuck, that's just disgusting. All this is not touched. And let's go over here where we have touched. So there's the painted side, there's the gel coat side. Well, it's another beautiful day in Washington, eastern Washington, in case you guys think that Washington's always rainy. It's absolutely not. In fact, over here it generally summers around 97 to 100 degrees. So back over here at land yacht number 1, and I'm going to be working on the rear part of the port side of this behemoth. So I've still got above the awning to do, and I'm going to need to pull the awning down to access behind the little aluminum bars here and here. And you've seen that I've got some masking tape on the bottom half of this window, and that's because it's a painted window frame made of aluminum. And since I'll be compounding, I don't want to take any of the paint off of the aluminum and make a little shiny edge. So I probably will set the camera up in such a way that you can at least follow the motions that I go through. Maybe I'll put it on time lapse and just finish out the bottom section here. And once I finish out the bottom section, I'll be bringing up my work above this line, and I'll be focusing on everything from here back and from here down to blend into what I've got going on down here. And once this is done, this entire side will have been finished. I'll be fairly happy with the results. one more time, just to really beat this in. There's the reflection. Can you see the name on the product? Anyway, this is just compound. I'm not relying on wax or cleaner wax or a filler or any sort of stuff like that to give me a decent shine. I'm just using compound. So, there we go. So you can see color, that's good. You can see color in Gelcoat on the reflection. That means you're pretty close to as good as it gets. Now the problem with Gelcoat is because it's porous, you can keep grinding and grinding and grinding. Once you've reached its highest level of shine, you can't get any higher because there are constantly pores that you're opening up underneath the pores that you just sealed and polished. So every time you grind on Gelcoat, you're basically opening up the pores again underneath what you already locked in. So there we go, and I got a little bit left to go here, above that, under there, so maybe about 20-30 minutes left. All right, we're almost to the end, and I just wanted to once again iterate the fact that while people claim that they're supposed to be able to see detail in the reflection, I can only assume that they don't understand what they're doing when they only want to see detail in their fingers, when what you should see is clarity as far as the eye can see. I mean, you want to be able to see this thing like a mirror. So I suppose for some people, the idea of holding their hand up and being able to see it is a good thing. I prefer, if I can, the ability to almost read the instructions on a bottle that's near the boat or the RV, or the instructions on the ladder, which is near the RV, which you can kind of see there. So again, this is compound, and I'm tired of seeing people talk about compound and I see them use it and they don't know how to use it, and the next step is always cleaner wax. And then if it doesn't look right, they're like, well, you just gotta put some more cleaner wax on it and add a polish, and that'll fill in the scratches. No, it won't. So stop lying to people, stop lying to yourself. If you can't achieve this with compound alone, you should not have a buffer. You should hire somebody who has a buffer. That's the reality of it. And I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm being a jerk, but I am absolutely tired of people saying that you can't achieve this with compound. You can only get close, and then you have to use a polish or a cleaner wax or some stupid crap like that. You don't. You do it right the first time with a compound, and come behind it with polish. Lock it in. Again, let's see. If this is straight on, this would be a 45-degree angle. So if somebody wants to see the detail in the reflection, tell what time it is? All right. So, compound. Do this with compound. Don't do this, or don't try to achieve this with just cleaner wax. Don't try to compound lightly just to get the oxidation out and then see about getting a finish like this. You won't. Or at least if you do, it won't last. So, once again, there's the reflection. You can see lots of detail, well past the fingertips, even straight on almost. So, there you go. I don't know why people think you're supposed to do 15 steps or do a medium step in the middle of the compounding and the polish. It's just ridiculous. Don't.